Congratulations.
Thank you. He feels great, because I think it's very difficult to beat City. You have to enjoy it, at least today. Tomorrow we will start thinking in Brentford, but at least today. But apart from the result, I'm very, very proud of the performance. I think to beat them, deservedly is even more difficult. And even if we suffered until the end, because they pushed us on the last minutes, I think we deserve this one.
Manchester City versus Bournemouth. How Iraola exploited Guardiola's system. We got Man City over here, and we got Bournemouth over here. So Bournemouth's in this 4-2-3-1. Manchester City is in a 4-1-4-1. If we look at Man City's starting lineup, we got Ederson in goal. We got Gvardiol, Nathan Ake, Akanji, Kyle Walker. Kovacic is the pivot. And then we got Matheus Nunes, Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, and Erling Haaland. If we look at Bournemouth, we got Travers in goal. We got Smith. We got Gvardiol. We got Senesi. We got Kerkez. And we got the double pivot of Cook and Christie. We got Kluivert here as the number 10. Semenyo, Tavernier, and Evanilson is the striker. We're going to see what Bournemouth's high press triggers were, what rotations down the left side they made. Semenyo and Kerkez were the main hindrance against Kyle Walker, and what sort of tactical tweaks Guardiola made in the second half. Man City in possession, they look like this. It's always a high possession game with a high line. So we got Akanji here, we got Nathan Ake, Gvardiol, Kovacic somewhere around over here, moving up and down. What Bournemouth did was that, Semenyo would make this curved run inside, and he would close off the passing angle towards the left, and this would force Ake to, go towards the right. Evanilson, mark Akanji, so that, if Nathan Ake has the ball, this would disable the back pass over here. And Bournemouth went man-to-man in the midfield. It was basically Semenyo's job to cut off these passing lanes and make it sort of like a 4v4 sort of a situation. Tavernier would move inside so that this passing lane would get blocked. And so if Ake, he passes over here, either Akanji would have to come, but then he would get pressed by Tavernier over here. That's how they high pressed. And so once they won the ball, let's say Tavernier won the ball over here, he would make this run right through here, and Evanilson would come over here, and Kluivert would make this run from this side over here. And so Gvardiol would have to make a comeback over here. Bernardo Silva would have to drop deep. Kyle Walker would have to come back. And so here, then Semenyo also makes the run, and Tavernier can make that through ball to him. So you got a 3-man attack, and you got 2 guys from Man City. So basically, Man City having to make this comeback against these fast guys over here, it would usually be really, really hard to do. So one of the other things Bournemouth did was they adopted a direct style, because it would be sort of difficult to pass through Man City's press. And so what they did was, this defender over here, he would make this direct pass over here to Evanilson, who would make this run over here, and he'd try to get that ball, that long ball. And so what happened was that, it was usually because, Man City were playing a high line, what would happen was that they would be late in dropping deep. And that's why, Ake would be late in tracking Kluivert, and Kerkez pinning down Kyle Walker, that stretched the central corridor, out wide. And that's because everything would, be sort of stretched. It would be easier to make these runs and get that ball over the top. And so Evanilson would exploit this and would receive this pass from Sensi over here. That's how they created that space. So another thing Bournemouth did was they focused on attacking this left-hand side, Kyle Walker's side. And so they were a pain for Man City on this side. What they did was, due to their positions, they interchanged these positions a lot. And for that, if Kyle Walker was up here, Phil Foden had to drop deep most of the time. And when he didn't, there would be a huge 3v2 sort of a danger. When Kyle Walker and Foden both moved wide, Bournemouth also moved wide with Kerkez and Tavernier. This would create a 2v2 sort of a situation. But this same thing would unlock this left side channel. So what would happen was that, if Tavernier passes to Kerkez over here, Semenyo would make that run, and this would make it a 3v2 sort of a situation. So he'd pass it over here, he'd make the run, and you get that pass over here. And the other thing they could do, he could make that direct pass over here to Semenyo as well. And so, it was a 3v2 overload for Bournemouth, and that's how they unlocked this left-hand side. That's why Man City mostly had to be like a 4-4-2 while defending. These position interchanges obligated the City players to move in both senses, which automatically, generated spaces. And it was basically Semenyo tucking in, and he was the goal scorer. Okay, so now let's look how Bournemouth did their build-up and how they exploited Man City's high press. So what they did was, if we look at Kerkez, Christie, and Senesi, Semenyo over here. So what these guys did was they would rotate. So Senesi would pass the ball to Kerkez, and he'd move over here to get that pass back, or Kerkez would pass the ball over here and Christie would close down the space. So they have this 3v1 situation, and what they're doing is they're generating space between Man City's second and last line of the press. So this is their high press, and they're creating space, an overload over here. And what they're doing, their basic objective was that once they beat this guy over here, they can pick out this runner in Evanilson. So once you beat your guy here, the ball goes from here to here, and he can put a through ball here, and then Evanilson makes the run, and then obviously these guys also make that run with him. And so that's how they beat Man City's initial press and low block of 4-4-2. Alternatively, if Senesi gives the ball to Semenyo and Kerkez is here, what they do is that, if Kerkez gets the ball, Semenyo then tucks inside and he gets the pass, turns around and looks for that forward pass between the lines. Manchester City's defenders, they weren't proactive enough. They couldn't neutralize Semenyo. So Senesi with an accurate diagonal ball. Sometimes he'd even do it from here. He'd play that long ball over here, and Semenyo would make this run, and he'd get the ball over the top. Diagonal balls, because Semenyo and all these guys are good runners, so they utilize that. So Man City playing against runners, that's sort of been a problem this season. Semenyo would what he would do is, instead of making that overlapping run, he would drive inside Walker. He'd get that diagonal pass over here. So what Guardiola did was that he made Gundogan drop deep next to Kovacic. Walker was the guy who held the width. Nunez, he operated as a second striker next to Haaland. That made way for Gvardiol on the left wing. In the first phase, Man City had the numerical advantage, which eased their progression up the field. All these guys close by, passing over here, here. Foden also dropping deep to close down this passing space and make the overload against Bournemouth's midfield. You know, this would free up space for Guardiola on the wing, and if these guys were over here, the space would be opened up. Over here, Kyle Walker, he would also make these runs over here, but then, whenever Bournemouth, because they were quick to attack, Kyle Walker would usually get caught out. Man City did force Bournemouth to return to their half. Tavernier dropped to the back line to mark Gvardiol on the wing. Bernardo Silva joining the last line forced Tavernier to follow the Portuguese inside and freed Gvardiol. Nunez, because he's the second striker, he's tucked inside. Gvardiol is holding the width, and this is obviously causing problems for Bournemouth. Man City, attempted, I think, 18 shots to Bournemouth's 12, but the only problem, because when Bournemouth was all the way back here, it would be really, really difficult for Man City to get those shots on target. So Man City only attempted 4 shots on target, whereas Bournemouth attempted 6 out of their 12 shots on target. And it's not that, Man City did have a lot of possession. They had 65%, but Bournemouth, they made most of their 35%. They made the most of it. Whenever you see a situation like this, a formation which is very compact and low block, what that team has got to do is that it's got to exploit those transitions. And, Man City were vulnerable, and those quick attacks that Bournemouth created, that's how they scored their second goal. They executed the same pattern every time. Semenyo dropping deep to get Senesi's ball, and then, if not, he'd wait for that long ball to come, and he would generate the space. So why did Bournemouth win? Well, if you take it down to one reason, it's because they faced a very good pressing team in Bournemouth. They're really good in high press and mid to low block. And secondly, because they rely on quick direct attacks, transitions, long balls, and when you have a fast team, Man City, if they're missing Ruben Diaz, you got a problem.
How much does it mean to you to get a win, not only against Man City, the champions, but Pep?
I've lost so many times against him, no? Especially as a player, no, that you have to enjoy when the day arrives, no, that normally doesn't arrive a lot. Is the, I think, first Premier League game they lose. We are in November. You have to enjoy it because it's not going to happen a lot, definitely.
Well, you wanted an early goal, and you got one.
Yeah,
That helped.
Definitely helped. I think against this kind of opposition, there has to be a moment where not only for your confidence, also for them, they have to start to think that maybe they don't win today, because they normally win all the time. So you have to find a moment where they can think, hey, careful. And obviously when you score first, I think it becomes an uncomfortable game for them, yes.
Can I ask you about Antoine Semenyo? He was incredible today.
He has been playing very well all the season. I think we demand him a lot because I think he can give a lot. And today probably he scores and everyone gives him more recognition. Same with Milos. He's playing very well. He's arriving a lot, giving a lot of offensive volume. Today 2 assists, and probably he will receive now the recognition that he deserves, because I think he's doing well. But we have to keep going. We've shown that if we give our best, we can have a game against this kind of opposition. We have to try to do it every time.
If I'm not mistaken, did Semenyo start on the right? And if so, what was the thinking behind switching? Because it seemed to work so effectively.
Yeah, I think Antoine is going to be always dangerous, no, for every centre back, every fullback that attacks. But it was more defensive minded, because we decided the job defensively that the right winger had to do was more difficult. And normally Taff is very good tactically interpreting these kind of difficult situations. and that was the main reason. No, it was more focusing on the defensive side, on our press, on how to try to match up better for us, because we knew that both of the wingers were going to be dangerous because they try to play so high that we will always find the spaces behind us.
You mentioned Milos there. Fantastic performance from him, getting 2 assists. Can you just say a bit more about his performance, both going forwards and at the back?
Yeah, I think today he has given the 2 assists, and probably everyone will highlight this. For me, it's very important how he closed the game, because a lot of times we've had to sub him because he was, not finishing with the same energy, and I think he's adding these small things to his game to finish strong, do your job defensively, suffer even when you are tired and the team needs you there. And even at the end, we put Dean behind him because they were threatening us a lot in the second post in the aerial duel. So the height of Dean was needed, I think, but he played as a left winger at the end, and he finished well, yes.
And you said in the week that 100% might not even get you a result against Man City. Was that a 110, 120 performance?
No, I think more than 100 is impossible. So it was very close to this, very, very close. And we need both things. We need close to the 100 from us, and probably them not to have their best of their days. Even then, even playing this game, if they score the last one from Haaland, you don't beat them because they are so good. But the first part was non-negotiable. If we don't play very, very close to our best level, is impossible.
Finally, from me, I asked you on Friday about the centre-back pairing, and played a fantastic performance today, particularly Marcos dealing with Erling Haaland very well. Can you just say a bit about their performance today?
I think they've been very brave, because it's difficult to play with the spaces we've had behind all the game against Haaland, because he's always a threat. And at the end of the game was a different game where they were pushing us and we had to defend crosses and deal with difficult, not only Erling, they put the centre backs, everyone was pushing there. And I think they've done the basics of the defending really, really well.
Just lastly, knowing the club as I do, this is probably one of the best results in the club's history against champions, multiple champions, etc. Do you take pride in that?
Yeah, of course, because at the end, everyone who has come today here, the ones on the bench, there were supporters, everyone has contributed a small part. We needed in the 92nd minute to celebrate one clearance or to celebrate one throw-in, because the players were suffering, and I think the atmosphere has been amazing. And you have to enjoy it. At least we know it's not nothing. It means 3 points, but obviously you're not going to beat these teams a lot, or I hope we beat them again sometime, but normally it doesn't happen a lot.
Sorry, one more from me. At 7 points from Arsenal, Villa and City, I mean, that's about as great as you could have asked for beforehand. What's the emotions with that comeback, with that order?
No, I'm not going to lie. We didn't expect 7 points, definitely. We didn't expect these points. But it's true that it's not the end of anything, We have to recover tomorrow, and next week we go Brentford away, the way they are playing at home, It's going to be a very, very difficult game again, and we have to continue to try to give us chances, because it's going to be very difficult. This is the Premier League. To win one game of Premier League against any team is very difficult. You have to do a lot of things well. So we have to continue, because we need more points, and we want to continue building, and take advantage, because we've got these points now against this team. So let's try to take this advantage and not lose it straight away,
Pep, when he was in earlier, he said he couldn't deal with the long balls from our side. Is that something you specifically targeted City with?
No, it's something that we normally do. It's part of our game. I think we have players who attack very well the spaces in behind. We have a pace at front, And normally with the wingers, with Eva, even Justin from the 10 position, he arrives very well to these spaces behind the line, and we use very well the long balls with Marcos, with Saba, with the fullbacks, and the end it stretches their team, no, because they have to defend the depth, so we can find also spaces in between if they go too low. And I think it's something that is not especially for City, is we normally target because it's part of our game. Yes.
You were really intense today from the start. Did you think that if you were as intense as you were, given how many games City have played recently, would you be expecting that high energy could have a big impact on the game?
No, we always play like this. It's not because City came or is our DNA. You know, it's very difficult. It's more difficult to do it against them because they are so good, and probably the press that works against other teams, against City doesn't work. And you have to go, not recover the ball, and go back, and then next time go with the same intensity, because otherwise it's going to become a game with only one direction. So we needed this defensive work, this probably that the players will not get this recognition because it's defensive work, but it was the most important thing we had to do today if we wanted to have any chance to arrive. Because otherwise, if you are always low, it's very difficult.
A word on Mark Travers. Is he giving you a real decision to make when you capture it?
Yeah, I think he has been very good. Probably he hasn't had the chance to make as many saves as the other day against Villa, but I think he has been dealing well with the game and has helped us a lot. Yes.
And today's result takes you 8th Premier League table, continuing to climb. You must have so much confidence in recent fantastic results. How far do you think it's been cycle?
We don't know. We have the reference past season that we finished 12th, I think, and but we don't have until we play at least the first round of games until the 19th game week. We will not have a first reference or where we are. No, it's still the first part or first quarter, I think, of the season. It's too early, and more than the points we have or we don't have or whatever, the position is the feelings that okay, the schedule is important, but we can try to compete every game, and I want to try to continue like this and go week by week, trying to add points because Premier League is very difficult to beat any team, and we know that if we go down a little bit in intensity, we will struggle, and I hope we take advantage of the results we've had against top teams to try to continue getting points, no, from the rest of the games that are going to be even more difficult now.
Just a word on Evanilson. You look very, very settled in the position there. Took his goal very well. What is the key factor to get the best version of him?
It's the same. No, Evanilson has scored last 2 games, and probably everyone will say now he's playing very well because he has scored 2 goals. I think he played amazingly against Arsenal. Probably he made the difference more than today. He didn't score a goal. I don't care. He knows. All the forwards we have now, they are not going to play because they score goals. They are going to play because they help us play better. And I think he's helping from the beginning the team to play better. And it's good if he adds goals, much better. But it's not. I will not judge him because of this. No.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.